Spring has come to the mountains. It's raining now, and the nature is changing. All these flowers are coming out in full bloom. Lots of smells, shapes, colors. There's butterflies, and there are tons of bees. Lots of bees drinking my nectar. Six-legged freeloaders. So let's make some honey, and hopefully not die in the process. So you've probably seen this kind of bee before, right? It's a typical honeybee here on my basil plants. But the interesting thing is, in Brazil, you have all these other types of little bees. Here's a slow motion action shot of a jataí bee on my lemon plants. Very interesting. And then I was on the hammock and I saw this little black bee, which was very interesting. So I followed it and I found that they have this home behind this rock. Look, you can see this funnel and little guard bees in the front. So I thought, why don't I teach you a little bit about Brazilian bees? Imagine that this here is an African honeybee. Look how aggressive it is. That means that a jataí is probably the size of this orange. See? If this is a flower, African honeybee can fit inside of this flower. Get inside the flower. It can comfortably get inside the flower, as you can see. And it can get inside and it can pollinate this flower. But find another flower, like let's say my hat. See, you try to fit it inside this hat, it doesn't really work. Different than, let's say, this orange, right? Which will be able to fit all the way in. Right, Kaju? Now, just to calm the internet down, Kaju basically loves being in this bag, so I wasn't forcing him into it. But my example basically showed that there are certain flowers that certain bees can actually pollinate, and so there are certain Brazilian flowers that only certain Brazilian bees can pollinate. And I'm actually recording this video from Ilha Bela, which is a tropical island 3 hours away from my farm. Here Kaju is having the time of his life. And what I thought was very interesting was right beside this little house, there's actually a colony of jataí, which is those other bees that I saw. They're native to Brazil, they don't sting, they produce a very unique kind of honey. Look at them, so cool, huh? Anyway. Let's talk supply. You need boots, bee clothing, gloves, this smoky thingy, wood shavings, matches, and this thing called a formão. No idea what it's called in English. First thing I need to do is to suit up. Put on my very cheap outfit that I got off of Mercado Livre. This is my smoky thing. Wood shavings. Be right back. Pepper, you can't come in, you're too dirty. Pepper and Kaju, get inside. Guys, get inside, there's the bees. To the house, fine, go. Two. Should be good. Put on the top part of my bee suit. And one last sip of coffee. I'll stuff this guy inside here. Last time my pants fell off and I got stung on my butt. Back in the game. All right. We have to go. The bees are here. So there's 4 colonies. These first 2 are new. Be very quiet. Bees don't like the noise. Come in here. You don't want to burn them. I'm going to create plenty of smoke. Remove the top here. Now the bees are getting a little bit angrier. The bees create something called propolis, which is kind of a glue that they use to seal up their colony. So I have to use this thing to pry it open. Wow. Very carefully come in. I don't want to cause a lot of noise already. As you can see, all the bees here. can see everything that's going on there. These are definitely not very happy now. Now we are very carefully removing this thing, and you can see that it's filled with honey. They're definitely not very happy. My smoke is not being particularly effective with them. Since these ones have basically filled, we can put in another box on top. We don't want to kill the bees, so we put it like this from the side. So now they'll have a lot more space. They are definitely very angry with me. Sorry guys. The babies are here in the bottom. Then we have 1, 2, 3 boxes where they can put their honey. That's a lot. That's like 30 kilos probably of honey right there. This back in, just a roofing for the bees. They don't get wet, because the only thing that ruins honey is water. We'll leave these guys alone. Get this colony here. We'll try to pry this thing open. But you can see this one doesn't have the cap on it. So you can see this one doesn't have the cap on it. It's a much smaller and nicer colony. It's not trying to murder me. And I have a feeling there's a bee in my butt. This is not good. Let's just hope it doesn't sting me. Yep, there we go. It's definitely bit my butt. That teaches me for not wearing the right clothing. Lost a lot of weight, and so my pants keep falling off. Just not really good for beekeeping when all these bees are trying to murder you, basically. Ah, shit. Got another one that got inside and bit my butt. So let's see how this looks. This here. Oh, yeah, I have a couple bees in my back. So that's not too good. Okay, it's a little bit too many bites. So I'm gonna put this guy back, put this guy back here, this over here, because I took a little too many bites. So even though I was pretty fine after the bites, I started getting a little bit of a fever at night, so I decided to visit SUS, which is Brazil's public healthcare system. It even has a fun little mascot that looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy lost weight and joined the Ku Klux Klan. There, I learned all about the different symptoms of dengue. I also was surprised to learn that my smile could save a life. I was promptly seen by a doctor. I got an injection in my butt that was way more painful than the bees. And then I got all this free medicine to take for the next couple days. And the final cost, drum roll, $0, 0 reais, nada. Love it. Mind you, this wasn't my first time at SUS. Meet Maria. She's a wolf spider. Maria was living in my tennis shoe. Maria bit me on my foot. Maria went with me to SUS. I let her go. I was just very happy that Maria was not Zay. Zay is a Brazilian wandering spider, one of the most venomous spiders in the world. We see them a lot of the time in our farm. Look at him with his fancy samba pose, trying to attack me and murder me. Once the bees stopped trying to murder me, we took out the boxes to a honey processing facility near where we live. We take out the frames. Here they are. There's a little bit of a cap on top of the honey. That's this white layer, this white film. And we need to remove that film if we actually want to have access to the honey. Here, my honey teacher is demonstrating the use of this little hair tool to remove the cap off the honey. This way, it'll easily flow out in the centrifuge.
Tem gente que vai assim, tem mais habilidade, vai direto aqui, ó. Depois eu vou te mostrar o outro.
This is some incredible technique right there. And here, demonstrating the use of another tool, faster way of removing the film off the top of the honeycombs. Then we put the honeycomb frames into this centrifuge. I think there's like 40 or so that can fit in there, one by one, as you can see here. Then we spin the centrifuge, and the honey flows out with a couple, unfortunately, dead bees in the process. Lots of honey flowing out, so amazing. And then basically just from 1 or 2 hives, we have this whole tub, like 30-40 kilos of honey. That's how it looks like. We even put some of the honeycomb in some of the jars. I recruited my mother-in-law to actually can everything for me, because I would otherwise get honey all over the floor, according to her, of course. And then I recruited my wife, obviously with my artistic guidance, to create these labels. Moonrise honey from the Moonrise Farm, wildflower honey from the mountains of Brazil. And there you go, that's how we made our own honey. Partially subsidized by the Brazilian taxpayer, of course.